Okay, we've been receiving lots and lots of emails regarding strings, guitar strings, and lots of questions. Now, we did do a little module on guitar string basics, but I want to get to some specific questions. Because, you know, with guitar, if one person's asking them, usually there's 10 people that want to know the same information. So we're just going to bang them all out right now, okay? One of the questions I got was, can I just buy one string? Or do I have to buy the whole pack? For the most part, you're going to have to buy the whole pack, okay? Or you can order strings in bulk. If you go to most music stores or online, some of the big online companies like Musician's Friend and some of the other ones, you can buy bulk guitar strings, and you can buy, you know, a certain one string. But you'd have to buy a lot of them to make it worth your while. So for now, you know, you're pretty much just going to have to buy the whole pack. And when you go to buy one pack, just don't buy one, buy two. Because you always want to have a backup. Because if you bust a string, and you will bust a string, right? Your guitar's down. You know, you can play the other 5, but it's not going to sound as good. So you want to be able to change it right then and there, and then you're back on the horse. You don't want to have to wait a week before you can get to the music store. Then you miss out on all that fun practicing and playing. So I suggest not just buying one string. I suggest buying a pack and then a backup pack, just in case you bust them. Okay? All right. Another question was, how do I know what string gauge I have? Let's say you just bought a guitar and you don't know what gauge, because remember what I said in the previous module. You want to replace your strings with the same gauge, unless you purposefully want to go up a gauge or down a gauge. But you want to replace them with the same, or else it's going to throw off the adjustments on your guitar. So how do you know? If you don't know, how do you know what gauge do you have? You could do a couple different things. One is just when you buy the guitar at the store. Most of the time, most new guitars come strung with a light gauge, electric guitars, strings, 9s, most of the time, if not all. Acoustic guitars usually come with light gauge. Remember, acoustic is more light, medium, heavy. Guitar, electric is more like 9s, which are light, 10s, which are light, medium, 11s, which are medium, 12s, heavy. Most of the time, because they want those, in the guitar stores, they want you to be playing what's easiest, and the lighter the string, the easier it is to play for the most part. So for the most part, if you don't know, if you just bought the guitar, it's new, electric's going to be 9s, acoustic's going to be light. But if you're still not sure, you could bring your guitar in. So when you go and you bust a string and you got to go buy some, and so you know the first one, just bring your guitar into the guitar shop and they'll tell you. Okay? But for the most part, you're going to have, usually, most players seem to use and feel more comfortable with the lighter gauge strings. I like real thick strings because I just like the tone. I like that thicker sound. The lighter gauge strings have a thinner sound. Not that one's bad or one's good. Remember, I'm saying it's all subjective depending on what you like. So bring your guitar in, or like I said, for the most part, if you just bought it, it's going to be 9s on electric and light on acoustic. Okay? Another question I got was, I just busted a string, or what do I do? Okay? Well, you want to make sure that you're prepared. So what I suggest is, if you don't have a spare set of guitar strings, even though all your strings are fine, or you just bought the guitar, buy another set of strings just to have them. Like I said, have a backup pack. This way, in case you bust one, you get it. And we're going to go over on another module, string changing, so you can do it yourself. Okay? So you'll have another set to change to. Okay? So you just busted your string. Another question I got, can I change them myself? If you know how, sure. You don't necessarily have to bring it into a place to have it done. You can do it yourself. Tune into our module on restringing your guitar, and you'll learn all about how to do that. If you want to bring it in, you can bring it into a qualified guitar technician, and they'll change them for you. Every so often, depending again on how often you play, you're going to want to have your guitar reset up, because sometimes the guitar will go out of adjustment, and that happens over time. So you want to have maintenance. Tune into our module on guitar maintenance. Usually when you get a guitar set up where they do all the adjustments, they put a new set of strings on it. Most places you can get that done for like $30, $35, including the strings, barring you don't need any major work done. We're talking about just your basic adjustments and stringing. But I recommend that you could do it yourself because you're going to be busting strings, and if you play a lot, you're going to be busting them. You'll bust a lot of strings, so you want to know how to do it yourself. So you can just grab another one, and it's easy. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Grab a string it up, done. Stretch it out, make sure it stays in tune, and you're done. Okay. Let's see. Another question I got is, how often should I change my strings? That depends on a couple things. I like changing my strings often. I play a lot. I teach privately. I'm playing out in bands, so I change my strings a lot. Maybe I'll go through, it depends which guitar. I have multiple guitars. I might be changing it once every couple of weeks. Whereas the average player, if you're just the average player playing at home and you play a little bit every day or every other day, you might want to change them every couple months, maybe every 2 months, something like that. Can you get more life out of them? Yes. However, remember, the older the string, as it ages, it's going to lose some of its resonance and some of its original quality of brightness. Old guitar strings sound a lot more muffly or deader. Excuse me. First time after all these modules that I've sneezed on camera. That's not bad, huh? I like the sound of new strings. They sound bright and beautiful, and they stay in tune better, and they sound real rich. Old strings are very dead, and you'll see what I mean. Once you start, if you're playing a few months, and then you go to change your strings, you get the new strings on, and you hit them the first time, you're like, wow, they sound brighter, louder. So you want to change them regularly. You're going to break them. It happens. You'll be playing them. Pop! Darn, I just broke a string. No problem, because I have my backup set. Or have 2 backup sets. This way you're always covered, right? Guitar strings, for the most part, especially if you buy them at a big guitar center or at through a catalog, you can get a decent set of strings, $5, $6, for all of them. That's not just for one, you can have a couple of backup sets ready in case you break them. So I hope that was helpful. Email any other questions. Email us at the next level at nextlevelguitar.com, and we will see you in the next module. Grab that guitar, go through some modules, and rock on. Practice, but practice the right things, because you just can't practice anything. You got to follow our structured plan.